who was saving who, and simply the Muslims have said the Jews save the Jews. The Muslim doesn't need my recommendation on them, but they only what they need to say that I'm saying to them one big thank you for saving my mother, thank you for hosting us for so many years in Iraq. Our religion was flourishing. By the way, this landlord, I feel very sad, and I don't know his name, how to go to pay thank you for his relatives.
Yeah.
He used to take the whole family with 2-3 wagons with bread, with kosher bread. He used to buy them on his own expenses because they were very poor. Painful. There's so many stories my father used to tell me, how the way he used to was to the business, friendship, talking, going, taking a walk. It was families. It was the Jew used to go to the synagogue to pray, and the Muslim went to the masjid to pray. And after they were finished praying, again back to the business, back to the friendship, and this went on and on and on and on. But that was not only in Iraq.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah,
in Yemen also it was like that. In Libya, in Egypt. In Egypt, it's very interesting. There's old people. There's 20, 30 old Jews in Egypt that refusing to leave.
In Egypt?
Yeah, they don't want to leave.
They're still there now?
They're still there now.
Oh, okay. I know they're in Iran.
My family, yes. My family is my parents who were Iraqi born. And they've been there, according to my information, hundreds of generations. Maybe they live with the Muslims there, but since the Muslims have released Iraq through the Caliph Omar al-Khattab alayhi salam. And that's where we're coming from. The way how they reached Palestine is very painful history, but if you want, I can touch it before.
Yes, please, yeah.
Iraqi Jews didn't want to leave Iraq. They were very happy in Iraq. They had a lot of businesses there. They had outstanding relationships with their Muslim neighbors in an amazing, enormous way. It was unbelievable. All rabbis admit that in Iraq, the Jews had the greatest time. Even among the Arab world, they had a great time in general, but in Iraq, it was outstanding. So there was no reason whatsoever for the Iraqi Jews to leave Iraq and go to Palestine, fighting another people, displace them and take their land and tell them from now on it's belong to us and just go away from here. They were not interested whatsoever. So how has that happened that 130,000 Iraqi Jews left in a few months? How's it happened? So the Zionists knew that they're not going to leave. So the Zionists has appointed a special terror squad. It's called commandos. The terror squads were good trained, and they went to Iraq with special uniform. They were dressed like Arabs, and they started attacking the Jewish synagogues, Jewish restaurants, Jewish gatherings, like before Shvios. That's a holiday where we used to go to the Dijlat River to pray there.
Yeah.
They dropped bombs on us. They dropped bombs in the restaurants and synagogues. They killed a few people, and it was escorted with propaganda, with papers in Arabic. Jews, the Muslims are changed. It's finished. The good Muslims is finished. They're here because there is a Zionist state on its way. It was in 51. 51, so the Zionist state was
already established.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now the Muslim would like to revenge what the Zionists did for the Palestinians. You have nothing to look here. Just leave and run away. At the first wave, 10,000 left. They were very scared. But then people saw that things are becoming relaxed. No, but they were not interested to leave their property, and they were good relations. The Muslim neighbors told them, stay, it's not us. Stay.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Don't leave. But then after a few months of relative quietness, suddenly there was another wave of explosions and attacks. And then the Jews, and then again a propaganda for these naive Jews, the Muslim here to finish you off. Run for your life. Yeah. Again, there was registration, yes. And the Iraqi police were helping to register the Jews, any Jews that want to get out. We didn't understand. The Muslims in Iraq didn't want the Jews to leave. But the government were offering free registration very quickly. You can you can secure for yourself a place in the airplane. So what's going on? Who is against who?
Yeah.
So after that, there was a CIA officer which wrote a whole book about it. How is it happened?
That's right.
It was a set up plan between the Zionists and the Iraqi government. His name was Nur al-Said. His name. Nur Said, he made a deal with Ben Gurion. Ben Gurion told him, give me the Iraqi Jews. Take the property. Take their stores. Take the bank account. Confiscate their money. And we're talking about property and money. The bank account which worth the billions of dollars. Everything you take for yourself. You just give us the Jews. That's why they turned their face to the other side when they heard of all these attacks, because then the suit was that came from the Zionists. They didn't even something happened is they captured one of the Zionists, is the judge which captured him. The police brought him to the judge. The judge said, with this case, it belongs to another district court, and at that then the district was judge has released him. Yeah. A Zionist Jewish terrorist that have Jewish blood on his hand.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
and this is the same thing that they did in countries like Egypt, I know as well.
They did it in Egypt. In Yemen, there was a sheikh. He used to come when Jews like us came to make sure that Jews are okay there. He used to come and tell me, why did Jews with the Zionists are coming and offering money to me that I should send my people to attack them, ensuring that they should run away?
Really?
He was asking them, why? What's wrong with the Jews? What wrong that the Jews will remain in Yemen?
Yeah. So that actually, even though the Zionist entity was already created, Jews still felt more affinity to the lands and to the homes that they had in the Muslim world.
There was no reason why to leave. The Jews heard already that the state of Israel was established with murder, ethnic cleansing, and they understood. Every guy which have a small brain, a little brain, understand that this conflict will never end. Till the Palestinians will get back their land. It will never end. So why should you have to put your head in a sick bed? Yeah. In order to you could have only one way import these Jews to Palestine, through terror. And that's what they did. They did it in Libya. They did it in Tunisia. In Morocco, there was a rabbi that they were asking the Zionists, asking him, take your whole community and bring them to Palestine. He said, no, I don't want. I'm happy here. Few days after, he was stabbed to death.
Really?
He was murdered.
So
he was murdered.
The Zionists
said, you see?
They were committing terror against...
killed the rabbi. No, the Muslim killed the rabbi. And he ran away. They killed the rabbi. And then they benefited from this vicious murder by taking all his community back to Palestine. Yeah. And even though 10,000 Jews left in Iraq till 77.
Okay, so a very long time after.
Yeah, because and where did they live to? They left Iraq, but they left to England. They didn't want to go to Palestine.
I see. Okay.
Because they heard the news, wars, relentless wars. Why? It's not belong to us. Just leave us alone. And they went to England because they had already a lot of them had relatives there. Yes, this. So when my parents were forced to leave, they left. The owner of the landlord that used to rent out the apartment, he cries, says, "The blessed go away from me. Why do you leave?" They said, "We can't leave. We can't stay here alone." Everyone, they were crying. They were hugging each other. Yeah. My mother always used to. Once a year, we used to sit on a table. We used to talk about. My mother used to talk about with longingness about Iraq.
Yeah. So tell me about those stories in Iraq before the Zionist entity, before they came.
So the neighbor, this landlord, used to come to bring a sheep every Pesach. Pesach is one of the most expensive Jewish holidays. Okay. It's a lot of expensive meat and matzah. Matzah is a special bread that you have to bake, very expensive. Okay. The Muslims knew that they used to bring for us potatoes, dates. Dates is a lot of dates in Iraq. Yes, cucumbers, tomatoes, yes, anything that you need, anything that you knew that it's kosher, which you just could have eaten. They would not bring meat because the meat has to be slaughtered in the Jewish way. And they brought the whole sheep. This is for yourself. Chud, hada mishanak, mishan al-Eid. This is for the holiday. And I told one time for the Palestinians, I wish to have a Muslim neighbor. I would receive a sheep from him. It was great. That's one thing. My father used to tell me. My father served in the Iraqi army for 5 years.
Okay.
He didn't feel any difference with Muslims. They slept in one room. They used to travel to take a walk together. They used to eat together. He was the kosher food, the Muslims. It was the halal, and they were like brothers. They used to go to tombs of holy people, holy Jewish people, together with the Arabs. They used to ride on horses. It was a great life. It was, and my father used to tell me, "You don't understand what was Iraq. He never lived there."
Yeah.
My father used to curse the day that he came to Palestine.
Really?
Yeah, what did he receive?
So it was all through this fear that they managed to get people to go. But actually, people were very attached to these lands.
Exactly.
And I remember an example that you mentioned in the talk that we gave a couple of months ago about a situation when some Iraqi officials were working with, I think, the Nazis at the time, and they were trying to scare the Muslims and even maybe round some Jews up as part of the Nazi campaign. And the Muslims actually defended them.
Oh, so you're talking about the Farhud. The Farhud was a small group of Iraqi soldiers that were siding with that were affiliated with the Nazi ambassador of Germany, which had a radio station in Arabic. He knew very good Arabic. He was to adapt the methods of killing Jews in Europe to Iraq. So he had a very, very hard work because the Muslims didn't want to kill the Jews. They loved them. So how could it be with good? So he worked very hard. He paid. He did the work. So there was a small group of Iraqi soldiers that were influenced by him, and they went to conduct the Farhud. So if the Muslim neighbors would have not saved the Jews, it could have ended up with thousands of casualties. And alhamdulillah, it's only ended up only with 100 casualties. And the Muslim neighbors saved in thousands of Jews. Then the Farhud ended up in a way because they saw that every Muslim house which Jews been hosted, they can't burst in, they can't go in to kill the Jews. So many of them just gave up. They said it doesn't go, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a story, but who's giving the witness? Who is a witness? I was born only because my mother was saved by a Muslim neighbor. This landlord that used to bring the sheep every day, when these few soldiers burst into his house, the landlord was living in the ground floor, and the Jews, my mother with another 14 members of the family, lived on the second floor. And when they came to say that they saw the landlord standing with a sword, they said, "Please step aside. We just want to get the Jews there." He said, "What are you talking about? This is my children on my dead body." He said, "On my dead body, I'm not going to allow them. I love them. This is my children." And they were asking again kindly to get in. Said, "Be careful, because I'm going to fight with you." So they left. And that's what happened not only in this house. My mother told her that by the cousins it's happened. The same thing.
Same story, yeah.
Yeah, same story. But I told her, how many cases was like that? She said, Haim, from what I know, tens of cases. But there was so many cases later on. She went through that many cases. Who was saving who. And simply the Muslims have saved the Jews. The Muslim doesn't need my recommendation on them, but what they need to say that I'm saying to them one big thank you for saving my mother. Thank you for hosting us for so many years in Iraq. Our religion was flourishing. By the way, this landlord, I feel very sad, and I don't know his name, how to go to pay thank you for his relatives.
Yeah.
He used to take the whole family with 2-3 wagons with bread, with kosher bread. He used to buy them on his own expenses because they were very poor. He used to take them to Najaf and Karbala. Why to Najaf and Karbala? That was a very holy sites for the Shiites. He was a Shiite. He was not a Sunni.
Yeah.
And he used to take them, and he used to take them to the Euphrates River. He used to take them to take a walk there. It was a very big market there to buy interesting things. They used to buy and used to pay it all.
So it wasn't even that there was what people call tolerance. It was actually much more than that.
It was brotherhood.
Yeah,
tolerance means like
you tolerate. I'll leave you, but I won't harm you. But actually, this is
to leave.
a lot closer and a lot more friendly and a lot more helpful. That's society.
That's why, in order to persuade them to leave Iraq, you had to kill them.
Yeah, you have to go very far to do
that. You have to use harsh methods to convince these Jews that they live to live.
Yeah.
And only after a few synagogues were blown up and restaurants and this, then they convinced the Jews. But then when the Jews came there, they didn't forget the good days.
Yeah.
Because how many bad days they had? It was only this, and all the Iraqi Jews, they were aware to the deal, this dirty deal that Ben Gurion did with Nur Said.
Yeah.
Later on, they knew. I told them, my mother, if it was so good, why did you leave Iraq? So they said, this dog Ben Gurion bought us. Ben Gurion Strana. She used to tell me, Ben Gurion Strana. Is that Strana in Arabic? Bought us off. It's so painful. There's so many stories my father used to tell me. How the way he used to was to the business, friendship, talking, going, taking a walk. It was families. It was the Jew used to go to the synagogue to pray, and the Muslim went to the masjid to pray. And it was after they were finished praying again, back to the business, back to the friendship. And this went on and on and on and on. But that was not only in Iraq.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah, I
In
was going to
Yemen
ask you about
also
that.
it was like that. In Libya, in Egypt. In Egypt, it's very interesting. There's old people, there's 20, 30 old Jews in Egypt that refusing to leave.
In Egypt.
Yeah, they don't want to leave.
They're still there now?
They're still there
Oh,
now.
okay. I know they're in Iran as well, and there's some in Yemen that still haven't left as well.
It's a different story.
Yeah.
Iran, you have 25,000 Jews.
Yeah.
Yes, just lately, yes, there was qualified 25 rabbis there. The Judaism is flourishing in Iran because the government have a policy. Not only that the government has a policy, the people in Iran are very friendly to Jews.
Yeah, so what you're showing is that it's not just a policy of government, it's actually the Muslims themselves
Exactly.
had this relationship.
Not that the Muslims in Iran would have killed the Jews and only they're scared what something stopping them is the government's harsh restrictions. No, they live together. I saw myself a video that one of the tour carter brought from Iran. How is the businesses are flourishing there? They're so happy. They building, they expanding. You know that the Iranian Jews, they don't, in order to keep their spiritual institutions, colleges and all these things, they don't go to Europe, to America, to England to collect fundraising for money to keep these institutions. They have enough rich people to pay their own institutions.
Okay.
And no, how could it be?
Yeah.
You have to say that is a full freedom of religion and full economical religion, and that's that the Iranian government are sticking to what the Caliphate used to do.